Calls to change the refugee policy in Trinidad and Tobago and in sport. Cricket West Indies chief executive to meet with exiled players following the Indian Premier League. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean in 10 for Wednesday, April 25th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
2012, fused response exercises have been funded by the U.S. government. They are done under the U.S. Southern Command in collaboration with the host countries such as Belize and Guyana. Now, Trinidad and Tobago accepted the invitation to host this year's security simulation drill since last year. In Tobago, the THA's Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, will play a vital role in this exercise.
You know, for me, music has always been a part of my life. I was born as a result of music. I grew up around it. But as time progressed, I chose a different professional career. The advice my parents have given me when it comes to music is really to become a writer and to develop that craft, to develop that discipline, and to develop that skill.
There are calls for a change to Trinidad and Tobago's refugee policy, and one attorney, Rajiv Prasad, believes the country's position on asylum seekers is contrary with international human rights policies. His comments come following the confusion arising out of the recent repatriation of 82 Venezuelan nationals. We get more in this CNC3 News report.
Calls from various quarters continue to pour in for the authorities to do more to protect refugees and asylum seekers.
It's important that the homeless, we need to appreciate that how we treat people is going to have a knock-on effect on what type of society we become. And this is yet another example of us not getting it right. And hopefully it will be a lesson for us that we make that movement towards becoming a more civilized, compassionate society.
The furor surrounding the recent deportation of 82 Venezuelan nationals is rooted in the confusion over whether or not legitimate asylum seekers were sent back home. According to human rights activist Elizabeth Solomon, the process to protect those at risk of being persecuted has failed.
The very clear processes that should be put in place so that you can process people. And then the second part, of course, is the non-return. Non-refoulement. You cannot return people to the place from which they have run, basically. These processes are what are so critical because people who fall out of the system or never manage to get into the system end up being victims of all kinds of human rights abuses.
The wait for elections in Barbados has affected plans by Chinese officials to proceed with efforts to expand agricultural cooperation. Yi Yanping, Deputy Director General of the Department of International Cooperation in the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, said yesterday that plans to send a delegation to the island in either May or June may be put on hold. Barbados has signed a memorandum of understanding on agricultural cooperation under which teams from Beijing will travel to Bridgetown to conduct special sessions and seminars and organize training courses and exchange of information. Now, Yanping said he met last Wednesday with Barbados' ambassador to China, Francois Jackman, and discussed plans for a Chinese delegation to visit the island. But with Prime Minister Frendel Stuart yet to announce a date for elections, which are constitutionally due by June, Beijing is in waiting mode. But Yanping stressed there a clear willingness by Barbadian authorities to engage in cooperation with China on agriculture. And he said discussions are still underway on how to promote that cooperation. The Dominica Electricity Company, Domlec, says it will not be able to meet its deadline to provide every customer with electricity by April this year. Electricity supply to the island was cut off after Hurricane Maria tore through the island, killing at least 30 people and destroying most of the island's infrastructure. Now, nearly 8 months later, Domlec General Manager Berthelia Mackenzie said, regrettably, due to the challenges experienced, the restoration will be extended past April 2018. She says Domlec remains committed to providing access to all of their customers within the shortest possible time. She said that nearly 100 linesmen from the region are on the island and are expected to remain until the restoration project is completed. Mackenzie says the main power challenge has been addressed and additional equipment is expected to arrive in May. The Dominica government has said, following the passage of the Category 5 storm on September 18, that it plans to become the first climate-resilient country and that the reconstruction exercise would be guided by that policy. Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next. Cricket. West Indies Chief Executive Johnny Grave plans to meet with a quartet of exiled players following the Indian Premier League in an attempt to clear up the uncertainty surrounding their availability. Neither Darren Bravo, older brother Dwayne, Sunil Narine nor Kieron Pollard have played for West Indies in recent times, leading to speculation over their future in the international arena. But with West Indies facing a heavy upcoming playing schedule, Grave said it was important there was clarity for selectors regarding the 4 players. Grave said, quote, Darren Bravo has refused selection on a number of occasions now, so we can't continually go back to him every time we have a match and ask if he wants to be part of it. Dwayne hasn't played for quite a while in any of our sides and said he does not see his future playing international cricket. So we've asked him for a meeting to see if that is his firm position. He added, the problem we have at the moment is that there is a huge amount of uncertainty where some players say they are not available and then suddenly they are available. End quote. And controversy flared when Pollard, Narine and Darren Bravo declined selection for the ICC World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe, indicating other commitments. Graves said the current situation which obtained was one which needed to be addressed in the interest of the overall development of the squad and especially with the World Cup set for England next year. Meanwhile, West Indies T20 star Kieron Pollard extended his form in the Indian Premier League as Mumbai Indians crashed to their 5th defeat of the new season with a 31-run loss to Sunrisers Hyderabad in the low-scoring encounter on Tuesday. Now opting to bowl first at the Wankhede Stadium, the hosts limited Sunrisers to 118 all-out in the 19th over with captain Kane Williamson and veteran Yusuf Pathan jointly top scoring with 29. They were just 2 of 4 to reach double figures and the only ones to pass 20. Leg spinner Manyak Mankade along with seamers Hardik Pandya and Mitchell McClenaghan all finished with 2 wickets apiece. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.